speaking to the police as well, because...
Hey, yo, free Palestine! Free Palestine!
But I think, apologies for the language you hear.
Did you know that in the recent clash between British Patriots and Islamic activists, some protesters were allegedly armed with machetes? This shocking detail emerged as eyewitnesses recounted the terrifying moments outside the Clumsy Swan Pub.
To the assistant manager of this pub in a moment, who'll have more information on that individual, but we've not seen any updates from the authorities who attended this scene last night. But we do know that while that man was out front here at the Clumsy Swan Pub in Yardley.
But the weapons weren't the only surprise. Many were left wondering, why was there such a limited police presence during this potentially explosive confrontation? As we delve into the events of that day, we'll uncover the factors that turned a political rally into a dangerous standoff. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
There, no such protest occurred, but we did see that arrival of men in masks, many of them carrying weapons and threatening journalists. They then moved here, and we can see some of the damage to the pub from last night. This window smashed in.
Picture this, the Clumsy Swan Pub, a cozy spot where locals gather for a pint and a laugh, suddenly finds itself in the crosshairs of a cultural clash. It's karaoke night, for crying out loud. Families are belting out their favorite tunes, completely oblivious to the storm brewing outside. But then the mood shifts. Tension crackles through the air as a group of masked men approaches the pub. Their intentions unclear, their presence downright menacing. It's like something out of a Hollywood thriller, except this is happening right here in Birmingham. Inside, panic spreads faster than a viral tweet. Patrons and staff, fueled by adrenaline and fear, spring into action. They're not about to let their local watering hole become a battleground. Tables and chairs screech across the floor as they're shoved against doors. The pub transforms into a makeshift fortress, with pints and pretzels replaced by barricades and bravery. Suddenly, the sound of shattering glass pierces the air. A window gives way under the assault, and reality comes crashing in. This isn't just a bad dream or a scene from the telly. It's happening, and it's terrifying. Linda, the assistant manager, recalls the fear that gripped her heart. "I've got kids in there. It was karaoke night. There were children." Her words paint a vivid picture of the terror inside. Families who came out for a fun evening now huddle together, praying for safety. As the siege continues, something remarkable happens. The Clumsy Swan becomes more than just a pub. It becomes a symbol of resilience. Strangers who moments ago were competing for the karaoke mic now stand united, protecting each other from the unknown threat outside. But as the dust settles and the immediate danger passes, questions linger like a bad hangover. How did a night of karaoke turn into a scene of chaos? What sparked this confrontation? And where were the authorities when this local pub became ground zero for a cultural showdown? The events at the Clumsy Swan Pub serve as a stark reminder of the tensions simmering just beneath the surface of our society. It's a wake-up call, forcing us to confront the reality that even our most cherished local institutions aren't immune to the broader conflicts playing out on the national stage. As the drama at the Clumsy Swan Pub unfolded, a larger, more explosive conflict was brewing on the streets of Birmingham. Two groups with radically different visions for Britain's future found themselves on a collision course. The British Patriots, waving Union Jacks and chanting slogans about preserving traditional values, faced off against Islamic activists demanding recognition and inclusion. The air crackled with tension as their competing chants echoed through the streets, creating a cacophony of anger and frustration. But this wasn't just a war of words. Eyewitness reports of protesters armed with machetes sent shockwaves through the community. Suddenly, what had started as a political demonstration teetered on the edge of becoming a bloodbath. The fear was palpable, with bystanders caught in the crossfire of ideologies, unsure if they'd make it home safely. Yet, amid this powder keg of emotions, one crucial element was conspicuously absent, a significant police presence. Where were the authorities when tensions reached boiling point? This glaring oversight left many questioning the competence of local law enforcement and wondering if they'd been left to fend for themselves in a city divided. Jess Phillips, a local MP, didn't mince words when she weighed in on the situation. She pointed the finger squarely at far-right elements, suggesting their provocations had fanned the flames of this confrontation. But was this simply a case of one side stirring up trouble, or did it reveal deeper, more systemic issues? The British Patriots argue that immigration policies are eroding their cultural heritage and threatening national sovereignty. They see themselves as the last line of defense against a changing Britain they no longer recognize. On the other side, Islamic activists and other minority groups push back against what they perceive as systemic marginalization and discrimination. They're fighting for a seat at the table in a society they feel often overlooks their contributions and concerns. As the dust settled on this clash of identities, it became clear that this incident had exposed deep-seated frustrations and fears on both sides of the cultural divide. The public's reaction was as divided as the protesters themselves. Some sympathized with the British Patriots, viewing them as defenders of a threatened way of life. Others condemned their actions as promoting intolerance and exclusion. The clash at the Clumsy Swan Pub isn't just a local incident, it's a wake-up call for the entire nation. Britain's multicultural fabric is fraying at the edges, and this confrontation exposes the deep-seated tensions threatening to tear it apart. It's high time for a frank, no-holds-barred conversation about what it really means to be British in today's world. But let's not kid ourselves. This won't be a cozy chat over tea and biscuits. We're talking about fundamental questions of identity, integration, and values that have been swept under the rug for far too long. The British Patriots and Islamic activists might seem worlds apart, but they're both symptoms of a larger problem, a society that's lost its way. Here's the kicker. Without meaningful dialogue and community initiatives to foster understanding, we're just setting ourselves up for more chaos. The UK risks getting caught in a vicious cycle of provocation and mistrust, and that's a recipe for disaster. And let's not forget the elephant in the room. Where were the police when things got heated? Their absence only poured petrol on the fire. So here's the million-pound question. Can a nation as divided as ours find common ground before the next confrontation? Or are we doomed to watch our differences tear us apart? The clock's ticking, and the answer might just determine the future of British society as we know it.